They are returning the Russian national team to European, world football. The same applies to club football. Russian teams will return to the Champions League and Europe. What does Lionel Messi create? The Argentine scored the most beautiful goal in Major League Soccer, and then he committed an act that made Barcelona fans turn away from him. Arne Slot explained why Liverpool stumbled at the end of the season and lost the final to Newcastle United and the new club of Paul Pogba, who will take the Frenchman. We talk about this and much more today. Friends, this is Dose of Football and the top 10 hottest news to this hour. Rather, charge your royal likes and we will definitely see you tomorrow. Well, I wish you a pleasant appetite and a pleasant viewing. Real Madrid dominated La Liga, having a match with Villarreal just 2 days after playing with Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. The championship has taken an even tougher stance with Barcelona, scheduling the postponed meeting with Osasuna for the 17th of March. To give you an idea, the Brazilian national team, for which Rafinha plays, will face Argentina on the night of the 16th of March, and the match of Uruguay's Ronald Araujo with Bolivia will take place late in the evening of the 15th of March. Naturally, if these footballers appear in the national team matches, they will almost certainly come out on the field as key players, so against Osasuna, they could play for about 15 minutes, if they are physically able to be in the match at all. The issue is not even about recovery, but about the likelihood of being able to return to Barcelona in time. Barcelona's management questioned La Liga's decision-making in light of such brilliant choices. Rauha is not a main footballer, but after Niga Martinez's injury, he would definitely have made the squad. Rafinha is among the club's top 3 most crucial players, alongside Pedri and likely Yamal. Moreover, he is the main favorite for the Golden Ball according to the bookmakers at the moment, but not only Barca is unhappy with the match time, everyone completely forgot about Osasuna because of the Catalans' dissatisfaction. And for you to understand, they have to play with Atletico already on the 18th of March, a day after the match with Blaugrana. Well, what is this at all? Yes, likely a poor game with Atletico in Oligopen on the 30th, but it's still excessive given both matches are away. Osasuna and Barcelona are likely to appeal the date from La Liga, and the game is almost certain to be postponed, especially after the noise with the ultimatum of Carlo Ancelotti. They announced that the club will turn to the radio for protection from the actions of La Liga. So now to definitely not play without a 72-hour break. Many Tottenham fans are demanding Ange Postecoglou's dismissal due to the team's poor performance, currently sitting in 14th place in the Association Premier League. A bright game like last season is very rare. Postecoglou has reasons: a tough schedule, many key players injured, and a limited bench. I have 2 issues with the coach: their overly aggressive style, nearly irrespective of the opponent, and the excessive rotation of the squad. Sometimes playing more precisely is better. Perhaps there could have been fewer injuries if Postecoglou had disregarded some tournaments like the League Cup and sent a completely second squad to them. The Australian Y seems to have not yet adapted to the unhealthy, in all senses, English calendar. On Sunday, Tottenham lost to Fulham, and after the match, an unhappy fanshipper shouted a question to the team's coach. What was that? An upset Ench argued with the fan. Show some respect, Yunusha replied. Tottenham players had to intervene and pull their coach away from the stands to prevent a serious escalation of the argument. Postecoglou's job is in jeopardy. It's a tense situation. However, as journalist Ben Jacobs notes, the London leadership still hopes the coach will succeed. But after the match with Fulham, Danny Levy met with Ange Postecoglou and told the coach that he expects to qualify for the Europa League as a minimum requirement for this season. How realistic is it to get into the Europa League from the 14th line? Yes, it's unlikely, in general. It's easier, in my opinion, to win the Europa League and get into the Champions League through it. According to the publication, Tottenham is already preparing to fire the coach, and the club has 2 candidates for replacement. This is Marco Silva from Fulham and Adani Iraola from Bournemouth. Both have earned a chance in a big team, considering that Tottenham is not a favorite to win the Europa League, and the VPL will fall into the Conference League. Unless by some miracle, we can count on Enge's departure at the end of this season, and Silva's appointment. It is in him that they see the priority option for replacing Postecoglou. Erling Haaland has issued an ultimatum to the Manchester City leadership. If the season turns out to be unsuccessful for the citizens, the Norwegian will insist on his transfer. So far, we see that Pep Guardiola's bald head has not yet figured out how to get out of the crisis. The team periodically achieves good results, but this happens sporadically. Then the fans witness a decline again. The recent 4 matches are a great example of this. Manchester City first beats Tottenham, then wins in the cup. After that, people can regain their prior roles. But the subsequent games with Nottingham Forest and Brighton have brought disappointment to the fans. Here the townspeople just tore up. Here the townspeople only scored 1 point. And now, the club is in 5th place in the Premier League and is currently missing out on the Champions League zone. This is crucial, as Holland's ultimatum directly impacts the tournament standings. The Norwegian demands an immediate transfer if the club does not make it to the Champions League next season. Holland has long desired a move to Real Madrid and wants the management to facilitate his transfer to the Spanish club. And if the citizens will play in some second-rate tournament instead of the Champions League, he has nothing to do there. After all, he's an ambitious player who won't wait for Man City to solve its problems. This looks like betrayal. The citizens bought him, elevated him to an elite level, and raised several significant trophies for him. He runs at the first sign of trouble. Harry, but it's not over yet. If Holland acts precisely as the source states, he should not anticipate sympathy from fans. As for his move to Real Madrid, it could turn out to be a great signing for the underdogs. Not only because of Holland's ability to score goals and simply, now the transition of the centre-forward is a great idea. Under the noise of the Norwegian's transfer, it might be possible to sneak Vinicius into Saudi Arabia and move Mbappe to his favorite left flank. In this way, Florentino Perez will both eat the fish and bag the Brazilian who has been given away. It's not just a transfer, it's a dream. Paul Pogba's disqualification has ended, and he is allowed to return to football, but there is still no comeback. Something strange. Couldn't the Frenchman have taken care of the matter of a new club in advance? He had plenty of free time, and he's not suffering from a lack of offers. According to reports, Lionel Messi recently spoke with Inter Miami owner David Beckham about strengthening the team's lineup. Messi requested Beckham to sign Pogba, believing he would greatly strengthen the team. Beckham agrees with the idea. According to Fecha His, Inter made a remarkable offer to Pogba, but the outcome doesn't solely depend on the Englishman. The team is leading the race for the midfielder, but not exclusively. Atletico Madrid and Matrasniki are competing to sign halfback. Where it's best for Paul to go depends on his personal wishes. In Major League Soccer, a promising and interesting project. Playing alongside Messi, the opportunity to enjoy Miami and Latin American culture, and even attending Miami matches. Heat is for which another Frenchman, Jimmy Butler, plays. If Paul prioritizes his sports goals, then choosing Atletico is the better option. The Matrasniks are currently among the world's top teams. You saw it yourself, they fought on equal terms with Barcelona and Real Madrid, and for a while they were at the top of La Liga. And even now, after the defeat from Barça, they are only 4 points behind the Catalans. In his prime, Pogba would be an asset to Atletico or any team, given his versatility on the field. The main creative force for Rayo is Rodrigo de Paul, but in terms of creating moments, the French Paul is stronger, and he's not a bit worse at launching attacks. It looks like a full-fledged upgrade to the position, considering that Rodrigo shines in positional defense, and here they are roughly on the same level as Pogba. But I won't be surprised if Semyon, as he likes to do, changes Pogba's amplitude and molds him into a full-fledged regista. Fortunately, all the prerequisites for this are there. Thiago Motta will likely be fired after this season, if not sooner, given Juventus' current performance. It's clear that the coach has lost the team. However, after the crushing defeat from Fiorentina, the Brazilian coach stated that he is the very person who can solve all the problems and achieve the necessary level with the team. The club's sporting director, Cristiano Adjunto, publicly supported the coach. In such difficult times, we must maintain unity. This season has been a roller coaster. And the last 2 matches the team played at a very low level, which we regret, but we are convinced that we can overcome difficulties together with Thiago Motta. However, Fabrizio Romano writes that so far everything points to the coach's dismissal at the end of the game. Journalist Giovanni Albanese reported that Giuntoli and Motta met for lunch. Giuntoli did not arrange the quality of Juve's defense in recent matches, and he asked why did she fail. After all, at the season's start, the Turin team boasted Serie A's best defense. Before facing Fiorentina, Giuntoli asked the team to react appropriately following the loss to Atalanta, but they failed to deliver. And it is Motta who should answer for this, believes Giuntoli. No one is planning to fire the coach today, but the goal has been set for the coach to make it into the top 4. Motta is waiting for the RFKA team before the finish to break into the Champions League zone and is determined to change the morale of the footballers first and foremost. We all understand that the old lady is suffering due to the lack of will and determination of the players. Motta also demands not to allow a repetition of matches like with Atalanta or Fiorentina. That is, a crushing defeat without a proper desire to win will automatically send Thiago to the bench. Until season's end, Juventus has away games, including Bologna and Lazio. Surviving the third match is a key task for Motta if he wants to last at least until the end of the playoffs. But considering that Motta openly lost the team, his career continuation at the Allianz Stadium is not yet believed. As I've already mentioned, Rafinha is now the main contender for the Golden Ball, according to the bookmakers. But not only world publications are also betting on the Brazilian. Yesterday, an English portal released an updated list of favorites to win the Golden Ball, and guess who was in first place? Of course, Barcelona's winger. You can familiarize yourself with the top 10 on our Telegram channel. The link is in the same place as always, in the description under the pinned comment. As for the fairness of this rating, there's nothing to say here. After Liverpool's exit from the Champions League and the defeat in the Club World Cup final, it's unlikely that Salah can now claim the Golden Ball, despite his impressive statistics in the Premier League. So, it's fair to call Rafinha the favorite. Especially after his recent stunning performances, the Brazilian is simply a phenomenal footballer. Unlike Ousmane Dembele, who primarily performs as a winger, he is omnipresent on the field. They rave as if he were. Federico Valverde switches the game from his half to the penalty area, like Sergio Busquets, and also scores and gives head passes. Many goal assists. He just lacks the ability to stand on the gates, and he would be the most universal footballer in the history of football. Moreover, he has what many players lack for success. And specifically, the will to win. Rafinha never loses hope, thereby charging his partners for a successful result. And he is already 28 years old, and he spent the last season at an average level. He created such a monster within himself through hard work and dedication, not innate talent. And such a footballer definitely deserves to stand on the podium during the France football ceremony. Well, whether he will take the Golden Ball will depend on Barcelona's achievements this season. Sergio Ramos went to Monterrey for the chic conditions, as previously mentioned. The start in the team was feverish. First, the Spaniard transformed the defense, then immediately started scoring. He scored 3 goals in the first 4 matches as a central defender, but in the meeting with the local Pumas, Sergio showed his main side. In the 91st minute of the match, Ramos got angry at his opponent and simply cut him off with his foot. After the kick, the referee saw it all and immediately showed a red card, despite Sergio's attempt to apologize for his actions. Just 5 club matches and already the first dismissal. Typical Ramos. The red card, by the way, became the 30th for Sergio, the top player among all at the highest level. And now Ramos has been sent off again for every club he has played for. Of course, he received most of his red cards in Madrid and could continue to rack up the stats for dismissals, judging by his excellent physical form. Not long ago, he himself asked to leave the club, but somehow the Merengues managed without buying new centre-backs. Luckily, Raúl Asensio stepped up, who is even being called the new Ramos. Sergio could have been useful in his first position since Ramos started on the right flank of the defense. And there at Real, who else has not yet played this season? The fans await the trend to join them this summer, Alexander-Arnold. But lately, they've been experiencing that the Englishman, just like Alphonso Davies, will reject Madrid and extend his contract with his club. As reported by Toda Fichajes, for this reason Merengue are actively studying another right-back, Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer. In the summer, he will be available for just 40 million euros, thanks to Clausula fullback, what is needed, especially in the attack. The defense and body are slightly similar, but that is the profile is similar to Trent's. It's clear why they chose him as an alternative to the footballer from Kausarov. Lionel Messi pulled out a match for Inter Miami against Atlanta. Atlanta quickly opened the score. In the 11th minute, rookie Emmanuel Latelatoon made a spectacular play. Just 9 minutes later, Messi evened the score. Sam intercepted Bart Shazlich's ball, bypassed the defender, and threw the goalkeeper spectacularly. The Argentine performs impressively, just like in his best years. So far, this is one of the classiest, if not absolutely the best goal of the season in Major League Soccer. Coach Capi Javier Mascherano praised Messi after the match, calling him the best player in football history. What else to say? This is a footballer who can score the most beautiful goals with the help of a corner. At the end of the meeting, Inter pulled out 3 points and topped the Eastern Conference table. Zappelli is once again determined to win the title this season and demonstrate their skill in the playoffs. The match has begun. They just avenged their previous season's loss against Atalante. Messi's health issues significantly complicate the situation. Lionel has already missed several matches of the season due to discomfort, and now he didn't even fly out with the team. For the same reason, Argentina will have to do without their main striker in the match against Brazil. It seemed like a chance for Paulo Dybala, but unfortunately, Dybala also got injured. Albiceleste faces a challenge as Messi faces criticism for his health and attitude, with some questioning how he could let himself go. The season just began, and he's already missing games due to overstrain. Now Messi is also hated for his actions in the match against Atalanta. When the attacker came out from under the stands, a Barcelona jersey was thrown at him. Lionel stepped on it and just kept going, although he looked back and definitely saw that it was a Blaugrana uniform. Here are a couple of comments from social networks on how fans reacted to the Argentines' behavior. That's why I stopped supporting Messi from 2012. I grew up a Messi fan, but such things turned me away from him. I understand that he didn't expect this, but the fact that he didn't have the decency to stop and pick up the jersey of the club that made him is another sign of disrespect. And so on and so forth. Messi could have thought about the reaction that the fact he stepped on the Barcelona jersey and walked on as if nothing happened would cause. It would have been worth returning just for that, to throw the microphone and give it back to the fans, purely to uphold the reputation of the pie boy. The Russian team was thrown out of international tournaments, which is why the team has to play friendly matches with teams like the Grenada national team. However, in light of recent changes in the political arena, Russia may be returned to major football. Some believe that this is hinted at by the delay of the Russian national team coach Valery Karpin from Rostov. The coach left the club of his own accord. There is an opinion that it's all because of insiders from the leadership of the national team. The coach had said he wouldn't combine club and national team roles if Russia can qualify for the European and World Championships. However, the coach himself attributes his departure from Rostov to monotonous fatigue. The president of the Russian Premier League, Alexander Alayev, stated that Russian clubs can return to the Eurocup, and in the near future at that. I remind you that one of the Union of European Football Association's representatives came to our conference. You can raise his speech, what he said specifically about this year. You've probably read the extensive interview with Alexander Chiferin. The situation is changing. I'm sure we're getting closer to a fair solution about the return of our clubs and national teams to the European arena. I hope this happens as quickly as possible. In another interview, Alayev stated that Russian teams will definitely return, possibly this year. It's hard to believe that everything will happen so quickly, but a woman often surprises us. The likelihood of a comeback has indeed significantly increased. Alexander Chiferin has consistently opposed Russia's withdrawal, only making the decision under immense pressure. The Union of Football Association's president will surely try to return Russian clubs and the national team to international tournaments as soon as he gets the chance. Liverpool did not show passion in the match with deservedly lost in the League Cup final. Liverpool is in decline as evidenced by Opta's statistics on won duels, but a question arises here. Players can't handle such a number of matches due to poorly distributed load slots or other coaching staff mistakes, including insufficient rotation. Or is it something else? Possibly, it's mental fatigue or the team simply lacks a reliable defender with a good clearance. Gravenberch is clearly not the player capable of consistently regaining possession. Szoboszlai must play lower due to Wataru Endo not being released because of McAllister's weak pass. He fights for direct halves until the end, but one is not enough. Slo believes the team was unable to perform on the second floor in the final. Were we morally or physically exhausted after the Champions League game? No. But this final had nothing to do with the problems in the running work. The game was tied to the top duels, and there was no intensity in this match at all. This is always psychologically difficult. Liverpool is planning a cleanup. In the summer, they will probably bring in a couple of high-level players. Look at Arsenal. All the giants are there for the picking, with few exceptions. And this is not a coincidence. Work is being done in this direction in the market. Liverpool is considering rebuilding the defense center at the moment. Virgil van Dijk's contract extension is undecided, and he is uncertain about his future with the club. According to Defense Central, Liverpool is ready to sell Ibrahima Konate for 60 million euros. But I don't quite understand why the Frenchman came to Liverpool, plays well, formed the strongest duo with Van Dijk. Wait, isn't that the point? Does the management think that without Van Dijk, Konate will not be as useful? But Liverpool is still making plans for the next season, assuming that Virgil will stay. So, I don't understand why they would want to sell Konate if he's showing top football this season. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching and subscribing. I'm Kirill Cast. And that was your daily dose of football. Peace to your house and hanga friends.